Welcome everybody. Good evening from my side. My name is 𝗏𝗏𝘀. I'm the Managing Director of IREB and I'm your host today. Today we will run our webinar together with our cooperation partner 𝗵𝗽𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗀𝗃, and I'm happy that 𝗪𝗀𝗃 is here this evening, who will have a nice webinar prepared, and we've discussed this already some time ago when we had our event in Warsaw this year, and I'm very happy to have you here. So we will start the webinar with about a 30-minute presentation before we start deeper discussions about this topic, and we also prepared some breakout rooms for deeper discussions between people, and because for us it's quite important to also have this, let's say, networking idea and to learn and to get something of the best out of you of this webinar today. That's why we have chosen this format for this evening. If you have any questions during the presentation, please just use the chat and just type it in, and either me or Carolina will try to directly incorporate it. Otherwise, after this presentation, we will have a Q&A session before we start into the breakout sessions. And then you can also unmute your microphone, and also, if you like, you can also show you on the with your camera. So this is up to you, but you can directly ask your questions. But please just raise your hand. We will see the number in the chat who has raised his hand, just to ask your questions, that not everybody is talking at the same time. I think that's what's the easiest thing. One last thing from my side, please note that the first part, so this means the presentation part, will be recorded, and that recording will also be made available at YouTube approximately next week. So that's all from my side. I would like to hand over to Carolina. Carolina is leading through the session this evening. She's also, and especially in the Q&A session, looking for the moderation of this question. And that's all from my side. Carolina, nice to have you here.
Thank you, Stan. Yes, I will have an honor and pleasure to moderate your talk, Wojciech. And before we start, I would like to introduce you very shortly. So please welcome Wojciech Dymowski from Wrocław, right? Wrocław.
Well, Poznań, actually, yeah, but
Poznań,
nowadays
why Poznań?
you are from wherever.
I always thought that you are from Wrocław. Okay, Poznań is nice as well. So, however, we are from Poland, Stan is from Germany, and we are going to tell you a little bit about basically breaking silos, and Wojtek will be the expert. Wojtek is project manager, coach, trainer, author of postgraduate studies, and much more. And Wojtek is engaged, a part of PMI Poland chapter since 10 years or something, a long time.
Or 17, actually. Now we have some breaks, so it may be like that.
Okay, perfect. So, Wojciech, the stage is yours. As said, we will start from a kind of presentation, introduction presentation. So, please.
Hello, everyone. So, being in my life a project business analyst, project manager, or a business coach or trainer, I was always looking on this methodological world, methods, tools we can use. And even now I keep doing that. And when I see around at discussions at conferences or some publications, some papers, newsletters or whatever, I see a lot of statements like, agile is dead, waterfall is bad, or no more projects, or scaling kills agile, whatever. And I keep asking, or actually I keep questioning how much, or is it really supporting our growth, our careers, or our business? Because I don't feel like business being really focusing on that. Of course, we as people, we like complaining and criticizing things. On the other hand, as when I talk to businesses, I look from there, like analyzing the teams we have, analyzing or recruiting people. I hear a lot of things like they don't get how our business works. Sometimes they speak that way. I also keep hearing like they expect things that we cannot get from our customers, or I hear something like the methods they use, they are really not solving our challenges. And of course, the world is very complex. And my question keep being like, does it really help, or how should we approach? Because I've seen some years ago, like project managers, a lot of them were ignoring real solutions. They were focused very much on deliverables. I've seen that in times where Scrum Masters were so much focused on the process itself that they were like focusing not really on value. At some other points, I've seen a lot of people that were ignoring really the proper place of business analysis in agile world, other projects or products. And actually, business analysis for me is simply about empathy. So we definitely, first of all, have to know what organizations need. And when you look at multiple reports or you work directly with organizations and you keep asking and observing what they are struggling with, they definitely want to be more digital, more adaptive, more effective. This is what they really want. If you look at the processes organizations have now, which they are running, there are a few of them very challenging in the same moment. So first of all, of course, it's organizations are focusing on delivering, and what is here important, the delivery is more and more challenging, and we definitely need to have like all hands on board here. But in the same time, organizations have to keep improving. We speak a lot about lessons learned, retrospectives, but if you look into real world, usually we don't have enough time to make it properly, to improve properly. Then we have transformations. Some people say it's like, there is a constant transformation. Some try to avoid transformation, but whatever is the approach, that act of transforming in companies, it exists. The same is with scaling. A lot of strange comments about scaling, but they exist. And my focus is always that this is a starting point to understand it. So I would like to, before we go into real breakout sessions, I don't like doing lectures. So I start already here with the first actually the task for you. So let's have a minute, no more. But let's try to think about what really is the most important direction or challenge that your area, your team, your organization, your department is having in an upcoming year. Try to think about it for a while. I will just keep silent for a few seconds. You can write it down because it may be helpful later. But this should be a starting point for thinking about your tooling and your career. I assume for some of you, the answer is very simple. For some of you, maybe it will anyway take an hour or some days sometimes to discover it. So I encourage you strongly to think about it and really try to find such a thing. But of course, the question is, what for? I would like to invite you today to think and discuss about really the role of analysis of the analyst or the analysis, in fact. So there are three things I think they are really useful from my experience to work. So first of all, I would like to share with you some of my experience about how mixing, adapting, and selecting and knowing, first of all, multiple tools and approaches, how to use them to answer the real challenges and needs of organizations. It's not about lecturing, so I'd like to, as said, encourage you to some discussion about these proven practices. And of course, we have to keep developing. And I'm like quite extensively using generative AI tools, and they are useful. So it will of course not be a whole package about it. We will not go into too much details, but I think you can get out from this meeting some ideas about how you can use generative AI methods to improve the analysis around you. So first of all, the question about waterfall or agile, the answer is very simple. I do my best not to use any of these words. I discourage people to use agile because it has a number of connotations nowadays, which not necessarily are that important. And what is more important, if you look in different reports, okay, we are doing less and less predictive projects, but it's not decreasing that much. Predictives, which were called in the past waterfall, this is a useful approach because it has multiple useful elements. On the other hand, what is interesting, and I think it's important, we have less and less so-called agile projects because in most cases we actually mix different things. And for me, my goal is always a success of a project or a product, and this is the way I actually like the approach of way of working, where we mix different approaches. And today I would like to share with you a few things that are, in my opinion, most challenging in projects and products nowadays. And some I would like to encourage you to have a look at some tools, some methods that can be used for that. So of course, the starting point, the focus on value is now the most critical thing. A lot of standards and then methods are changing and focusing on building this value. Of course, it's not that new. But the first point is always to identify one of the first pre-tasks of analysts is to understand who we talk to. And this is quite a huge group, but one of the easiest way we keep trying to find the ways how to structure it. So I like very much the approach of personas. Here you have some examples of prompts. GenAI prompts, I will get back to it later, how we can use it, but definitely there are some nice examples how you can help yourself with GenAI tools to use these personas. But the whole idea is very simple. There is a number of methods, but for me, I don't see any possibility of any person who plays an analytical role not to use a kind of a structuring of who we talk to. Then, when we know who we talk with, so we already start this breaking silos, because we definitely have to be open-minded. It's not only about the worst approach is when we treat only those who brought us some initial requirements as those that are all sources of requirements. I like very much lean approach, and lean approach is very often mentioned as avoiding waste, which is absolutely not what it is. It's even in the lean primer itself, and they keep repeating that lean is not about removing waste. It's about respect and understanding why we are doing. So one of the most important questions is why. Of course, you know it, most probably you've seen the Simon Sinek famous movie about why, but it's not only about knowing that. I keep really questioning, even when customers tell me something, and this is what I learn, and I see how tough it is sometimes to analysts. When I encourage them, you should, when important people in company bring you some idea, you should ask why they need it. And I keep having the comment, we cannot question their requirements. No, you have to. You have to. Being an analyst, you have to question that. Imagine this is your own startup and you're building a product. When you don't question it, you will not receive anything good as a result. And what I really like, I love saying that customers don't have requirements. Because if you look into, even I just chosen 3 standards you should be somehow aware of. So from PMI or IREB or IABA, you in every single definition you see that the requirements is something that you work on the basis of needs. We play with the needs of people. they don't have requirements. They usually have like something which is the beginning of requirements. So we have to definitely keep questioning and asking this why. The next thing, the next tool I really like, and I go usually deep on trainings how to understand it and try to focus on a few elements, is value proposition canvas. There are two reasons. This is very simple, understood both by technical people, less technical people, or absolutely technology agnostic people, and it helps to share an understanding. But what is very important, it starts from the right to the left, maybe not very intuitive, but one of the famous and the best quotations I've read in one of the articles is when we design the product, or where someone is buying a product, the person is actually hiring the one who delivers the product to do some kind of a job. So it always starts with understanding what you are doing on a daily basis. My favorite approach when I start discussing with customers about new ideas is just tell me a little bit about your daily work, how you operate on a daily basis. This is one of the key elements. And why I'm saying it's important, because people really like expressing what they do. They like to share if you properly ask them. Like one of the most important things, and this is also for why I like GenAI, because it helps you to prepare good questions. And the method, the way of analytical working is about questions. So the questions about how you work, the questions about why you need it. And then from the customer jobs, from the right, you go, the products and services are only at the very end on the left-hand side as a result of our work. I like trying to, make people heads very hot. I like to share a number of ideas. I try to structure them, but I definitely believe that you have to know a number of tools. You cannot be an expert in all of them, but you have to know of them. So for example, value stream mapping is a huge tool, but it is only one thing which is very important, like from my perspective to understand that value stream mapping properly taken, like gives two perspectives. It sees the value that we are delivering to customers, but we are also usually working for business, and the business also want to have some value. So when defining a product, how often do you ask the company that is going to deliver the product, the marketing staff, or the finance, what do they expect? How they imagine the best stream of revenue stream, for example, from the product. This is also a very important part when we elicitate or where we simply gather, analyze, when we play with the requirements. One very nice example, which when I was introducing that I was not expecting that to be even that useful. When I have different groups of people who are working on some ideas, and they should design the solution at the end, and they bring some different requirements, I do a kind of a speed dating. So I organize tables, I split them into groups, and I ask them to exchange their most important requirements in about 3 minutes. And then they keep changing their teams. So every team is meeting every other team at some time. And initially people say, it's so stupid. You cannot exchange, you cannot discuss about anything reasonably in three minutes. But in some rounds, they keep realizing that actually now they are really focusing on priorities, on the most important things. And they know different perspectives. So after that kind of workshop, you can, of course, go deeper, but already they understand their different perspectives really, really well, comparing to what was in the standard approach. So this is like my map of few examples of things that really can support and improve the value of the final result you're working on. The second aspect, I think, is very important. is this discussion about should we have projects or projects are dead because only products are important. A lot of discussions about that. One more time, I'm not going to focus on what are the differences, but what is similar in whatever we deliver is that we are trying to use visual methods. You can of course have like wireframes and mockups, but you can also use the 3D printing to visualize to people like the house they want to build, or some kind of tools for engineers. You can like 3D print from plastic some elements and then go to the factory and try to ask how they feel about it, what they see, what is the feedback. So you can really, in a fast way, in the very beginning of the project, gather some feedback. So it's not already like pure playing with engineering. We have to focus much more on the complexity of the solution. And usually, one more time about breaking silos, I keep repeating that. Your role or our role as analysts, because I believe that everyone actually in the product should be a little bit analyst, but some of them are more focused on that, is to show this complexity, for example, by asking to everyone, what else do we need to make it fully usable? So I mentioned about like revenue streams. If, for example, you are designing a new, I don't know, HR supporting application or on changing the process, how often do you also include in that the marketing part? How we will train, but also how we will like convince people to use it. Even today, I had a very nice meeting showing like just one part of our discussion was how the product can be used, what is the technology, but actually the most important part was how we, as soon as possible, see that people really are using this solution. This is much more important than going too much into some of the details. One more place when I see a lot of disputes and discussions. So people who are agile, sometimes they try to say we cannot plan. Yeah, we don't plan. We will deliver when it will be delivered when it's delivered. And then the response from business is, guys, I have to plan something. And actually, both are only partially true, because agile is absolutely not about not planning. And the business needs to know something, but we have to be empathetic towards each other. So we have to try to find a way how we can support the business in better knowing the directions. And this is also a very important part in planning any product or project delivery. So it's not like we have to have strict plans. Of course, business have to understand that we cannot simply plan too strictly. But on the other hand, we have a lot of tools to really be able to a little bit forecast when something will be delivered. And for example, building the product roadmap is definitely a part of the preparing the solution. One more thing, I don't want to go, as I said, I just will most probably give you some ideas, some inspirations, I hope, and you can go deeper into any of these methodologies or methods. I also prepared an article about this, only in Polish, unfortunately, but you can now with a click even translate. But the idea of these articles I prepared about product and project approach is to avoid the most strange discussion I've ever heard. Have you ever seen this discussion? Who is more important, project manager or product owner? How does it matter to anyone? I mean, how it influences the business or delivery? There are many different roles in projects and products, and there are different settings. There are some companies where this is the part of project manager, this is the part of product owner. You always should help them. We always should help them the proper way to work. And there always is a possibility. But we have to start with like open mind approach. Okay, guys, we have these roles in this project, these needs. how we can put it together. And I even put some challenges. I was analyzing some challenges for product or project delivery in the future, and most of them is not so different. But one more time, knowing these little differences, we can really improve the work. We can get them together. I really like not to follow standard things. So when you hear about GenAI, you hear a lot of discussions about hallucinations are bad. No, they are not. Hallucinations in GenAI, it's a kind of a specific thing that is built into that, and we will not avoid it. But what we can do, instead of saying we cannot use GenAI because it hallucinates, we can think, okay, it's creative then. It's much more creative than humans sometimes, to some extent, in some conditions and so on. So, for example, when I work on a product, I here ask the GenAI, I described the barbecue on the first one on the top, and I asked, how would you imagine such thing? And I did the same with the agricultural, it's so-called like city farming. But you can see here two types of pictures. What I asked GenAI, I asked to do two things. I asked, okay, imagine that, and first try to use technologies that are like available, simple. Don't do that complicated. But then I asked to show me the possibilities to discuss with my, for example, customers or people who I discuss about needs. And then on the opposite, try to prepare something that will be totally, extremely creative. Maybe this one, I would expect something even much more creative, but if you now even compare the pictures on the left and on the right, and if you use them to discuss with customers about potential solutions you may offer, it's already showing you some interesting results. It's already inspiring people to have some discussions. So definitely in product and project approach, you can mix it. You can take what is most useful for the specific setting you have, and then try to use both methods, both approaches, and find good elements. I was having an example in my mind, and to start this part. Now I've lost it. Let me give a second, because it was nice, but it's okay. You have to be agile. I will not use this example. Yeah, it was something about. I will have that later, of course, when I do not use it anymore. But when you start searching for information about scaling agile, one of the first things you will find is do not scale. Oh, can you imagine any kind of life activity? Like, for example, you want to buy bigger house, or you want to buy, I don't know, you can scale whatever. You want to train more, do more exercises. And the answer will be, don't do it because it's too risky. How would you treat that? And this is exactly the way how I react when I see this stupid thing about scaling. If you have 2 and more teams working on the same product because the product is bigger, you definitely have to find a way to manage dependencies and to organize a kind of a rhythm, synchronize the rhythm between these teams. One of the simplest basic steps of scaling was DevOps. So understanding that when we develop the product, it will have to operate, and we have to already think about how it will operate, so we don't simply start only having problems when we deliver it. When we have a lot of teams, and then have you ever seen situation where 2 different teams or multiple different teams present some aspects, and the other team is saying, wow, guys, but we did it already like 2 months ago, the same part. Have you ever seen such thing in projects? I've seen it many times. And scaling is to avoid this. If you, for example, I don't encourage you to take and fully implement any of the scale methods. but I definitely encourage you to think about what is interesting here. So for example, what is Scrum at Scale is like very like this one as a basic framework, because it shows that we have two cycles. There is a Scrum Master cycle when we have, for example, shared impediments. When we have multiple teams, let's gather some impediments, challenges they have, and discuss if maybe together they can fight them more effectively. Or maybe the other team has already solved something that this new team is struggling now. It happens many times. And the same if we have like different priorities in different teams, because we may have, for example, security team, one of the easiest example, and the team working on new technology, innovation, and security team. Can you imagine, of course, that the dependencies are great and the priorities are not necessarily the same. So using elements of this method can definitely help you. And then today, SAFe is the most common, but also the most criticized framework. But what is good in SAFe, for example, what I really like it, that there is this architectural part. So I have scale of products, scale of processes, but also there are some methods that help you organize the architecture on the team level, but also on the portfolio and the big product level. So one more time, for me as a person who should arrange the requirements and understand the needs and help to design the solution, it's very important to also to like take care into consideration these aspects as well. And of course, as I said, you have to be careful. You shouldn't try to like take all the methods, because if you want to really take one method and be very strict about it, it sounds safer, but in fact, most probably it will have quite soon a number of challenges and limitations. So my advice is always to try to experiment, to find some ideas. Like you can take, for example, one type of the meeting and organize like every week a short meeting where all the teams are bringing their ideas or problems or sharing where they are. And for example, for me as an analyst, the demo of the part of the work that was done by other team is always a great opportunity to gather requirements, because when I see what other teams in the same product or in the same part of organization, what they are doing, I can say, okay, if they are doing this way, it means that I can focus on that, maybe have some inspiration, some ideas. I always encourage people to from teams, from product or project teams, also to have a look at other teams when they are doing something that is like somehow similar. I will not go at all deep into transformations. I just wanted to mention to you that, okay, there is, for example, this is a PMI, of course, source, but you have ready to use workshops that you can take, download, and see some examples and use the workshops. I'm recommending that because it's simple and free. And of course, there is a number of many different transformation methods, approaches you can use it, but you have to definitely have a look at that. And the last big topic after focusing on value and products and then scaling is effectiveness. One more time, sounds simple, but even such simple elements like prioritization is really challenging. When I was doing some workshops for small or big companies, I used to have, usually people start or stop at the very simple solutions. Like, for example, for me in Moscow method, the most important part is the last one. So things that we won't implement. The other very simple example I like very much, because one of the biggest problems in companies is that we have too many priorities. Everything is a priority. I think that's something that everyone has at least once heard. I like this approach, this template, because it's done the way that in high priority, in the very middle, that can be only one thing that can have place here. And of course, prioritization is easy when it's one dimension. But for example, you have in Scaled Agile, you have something that takes into consideration in priorities also how small things are or how much it will cost if we delay them. I'm absolutely not trying to go into that, but I'm trying to inspire you to look for a different prioritization methods if you feel that in your projects priorities are not working. And one more time about silos or thinking, trying to find a common way. More complex prioritization methods like this one, they can help you to bring different perspectives. So people who really fight with time and want to have things faster can have their part of priority here. And those who want more valuable business things will have a part to that. But also those who take care about risks, they will also have a part of discussion here. So a number of really different elements that can be used, and they are not very complex. But there's one thing that we have to remember, and I especially in some areas now when I ask people about, start some discussion about GenAI. GenAI is just another technology that came to us. We will see how it will end up, but definitely it means that simple structuring requirement is not the job of analysts anymore. It's because simple, like gathering and preparing an Excel sheet with requirements, or even modeling the business process, it can be quite easily, I'm not saying totally easily, but quite easily automated. And even visualizations and mockups, it's just the beginning, as I can show you later on with GenAI. In multiple situations, you can just really generate the real solution, the code with GenAI tools. So it's also like very, you skip out of the one step. So you definitely don't need a part of analyst's role anymore. One more improvements. This is something you can already focus a little bit more on. The question is, how many times have you done retrospectives with customers? I keep doing that when I work with analysts teams and I see, like, for example, they are struggling in communication. They keep trying to get some more precise requirements from customers, they try to get more requirements, but something doesn't work. So what should you do? Let's just discuss about the process. Maybe the customers don't understand the method. This is actually one of the most important elements, and this is the most common now answer to questions that are, will AI take our jobs? What we can do, what is not that easy for AI to cover, we definitely have to educate our customers, because the world is so complex that our customers sometimes don't get why we are doing that. They don't understand the methods. So that's why I'm presenting here not all those complex methods that we all know, and there's a lot of them, but I'm focusing on simple methods that can be used as a part of our solution. We can still work on these complex methods because in many places, many situations, we have to have them, but we definitely have to educate our customers. And the key question and key aspect of my approach is you always have to choose, you always have to select what are your strengths and simply take it and use it.
Otherwise, I think everyone is allowed to contact you.
Absolutely. I really believe in exchange of discussions and networking, so definitely.
Good. Perfect. Looking to the time, so 3 minutes to the end. I think we made a very, very good schedule and a very good program to reach the end by the time we have planned. So thank you very much, Wojciech, for this really nice insights, and for me it was really nice coming the way from, let's say, really acting with people, thinking about business value through the topic to generative AI. What is a topic, or what is it, let's say, a tool that will affect our daily business and daily jobs in each segment, I believe. in whatever, let's say, way or anyhow. But if we don't play and if we don't understand generative AI, I think then at the end we'll have some kind of issues. Thank you, Carolina, for your moderation, and that's from my side. Some last words from your side, Carolina.
From my side, it may be controversial, but you know what I think, Wojtek? I think that for me, the most important parts from your presentation, from your talk, was when you mentioned that we need to join people, not to split, that we need to communicate, that it's about people, yeah, it's about understanding the customers. Tools, AI, they help if you know what you are doing. If you don't know, any tool, no tool will help you. Yeah, so for me, the most important thing is what you tried. I think you tried to realize that it's about people, it's about communication, coordination. Yeah, it's about collaboration, not stacking in our silos and our, me way of thinking. So for me, that was the best value. Thank you for that.
Thanks a lot. I will give a short comment, short answer to the question when people ask what should people do when GenAI is what we should focus on. Be more human.
True. Yeah. Some last word from your side? Then, thank you very much for joining. Thank you for the participants. Thanks for your comments and your engagement, and hope to see you in one of our next webinars, roundtables, whatever. See you. Have a nice evening, and bye-bye.
See you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.